So Smilegate has given us 10 more floors of Challenge Abyss. The new Challenge Abyss is a lot harder than the first 10 floors. You won't be able to squeak by with lower end gear. It does take pretty late game gear to complete it. Floor number 11, first gimmick is you need 3 green units. Second gimmick is you have to kill the entire fight without ever triggering outrage. Now outrage happens when one of Montmorancy's allies gets an attack buff. And the way they get an attack buff is Montmorancy puts this deep slumber debuff on one of her allies, and it's only a 1-turn debuff, and when it wears off, they get an attack buff, and you fail the mission. To remove deep slumber, you have to hit that ally twice with a single target attack. For this reason, we're going to use Alencia in the fight. Alencia is perfect because her S1 skill procs a second S1 skill, so she removes that debuff in 1 turn. I put her on the S1 EE to help with her heals, and I gave her auto mail for some additional damage and speed. You could run Alexinox Wrath or any damage artifact. Speed or destruction set would of course be better. Mine's on injury for PvP, which has no effect in this fight. Next is my healer, Destina. You could also use Ray for this job. Destina I put on her EE that helps boost her CR push, and I gave her Shamadra Staff, which will boost her healing as well as the healing skills of the other units on the team. For example, Flurry. Her passive healing is huge for this, as well as her self-cycling. I gave her this free artifact for some additional healing. It's hard to stay ahead of the damage in this fight if you don't have a lot of healing. Another gimmick of this fight is when Momo puts her Deep Slumber buff on one of her allies, she will put the highest attack unit to sleep. Champion Zerato is my highest attack unit, and he's immune to sleep. That's why he's there. You could also use Mort for that purpose. I put him on Ayla's Violin though, because you really want to strip away Momo's immunities to allow you to throw back debuffs like attack down and unhealable. Now when the fight starts, Momo's first turn, she's going to do that S2 skill and put that Deep Slumber up. It also will cleanse any debuffs off of her, just like regular Momo's S2, so it's useless to use Flurry's S2 early because the defense break will just get cleansed there. Now she put the Deep Slumber debuff on the top dragon, so we have to hit that top dragon twice with single target attacks. So there's one attack, and there's the second attack. Champion Zerato hits 2 units at once, so his units will not count for removing Deep Slumber. Our only options are to hit it, to double tap it with Alencia, or if we stagger it properly, we can single target it with Falcon or Clury, and then single target it with Destina's S1, and that frees Alencia up to hit Montmorancy. Biggest part of this fight is juggling your skills, deciding who's going to remove that debuff and who's going to hit Momo. I think I had to restart this fight several times because I lost track of that debuff, and the debuff wears off in just 1 turn, so it cycles quickly, and if you lose track of it, out comes the attack buff, out comes outrage, and you have to restart. Another reason I preferred Destina in this fight over Ray is because Destina's S2 is a 50% CR push, and that can be a lifesaver if you accidentally lost track of where that debuff was. You can push up Alencia and then have her remove the debuff for you. Now, a couple other gimmicks so you don't have to read the 25 paragraphs of skills on this. If you do any form of AoE attack, Momo and the dragons heal, and I mean they heal a lot. So you can't do any form of AoE attack, and that includes Arky. If you do an AoE attack, I don't know the exact amount, but it was close to a 25% heal, I think, when it happened. So it was awful, too. It was at the very end of the fight. I thought I could use Arky to end it, and Arky didn't quite kill, and it wound up healing everybody up to about 30% health, so I had to restart the whole fight. If you Arky and kill, you're fine. You just need to make sure if you're going to use Arky to end the fight that you make sure you're below that 10% health left mark, or you might have regrets. Now these attacks right here put debuffs on everybody. This is why you want Ayla's Violin. You can see I stripped the immunity off of the dragons, so the next person that hits Champion Zerato, he'll be able to send those debuffs back. Momo does have an organic S1 sleep skill. It's an RNG hit just like the regular Momo skill. Sometimes that's going to happen, so you do want to have some decent ER on your Destina so she doesn't get put to sleep. Here's the second dragon attack. This will fire the debuffs back, and I got heal block on Angelic Montmorancy, and that's nice because when Montmorancy does her S2 skill, she self-heals for about 13k health. That's about 10% heal. It's not huge, you can stay ahead of it, but the heal block's nice because it keeps it from happening. Once again, the top dragon gets the special debuff. Once again, I use Alencia to clear it. Soul Burning Destina's S1, especially when you're wearing Shamadra Staff, is a tremendous heal, on par with her S3. So you can save her S3 for when you are in situations where you couldn't heal with the S1, like when heal block is on everybody. The next gimmick is Montmorancy's ultimate skill is getting ready to go off. Her ultimate skill puts immunity on all 4 units and does a fixed damage to your team. I think it starts out at 2,000 damage. So let's see here. There's immunity, and there's a 2,000 damage pop. It's already up to 2,300 damage. The longer the fight goes on, the more damage that S3 pop does to your team. It scales all the way up to the point where it's doing 5,000 damage, and I tell you, if she gets that thing off with 5,000 damage and the 2 dragons are right behind her with AoE attacks, it can very well wipe your team, especially if the dragons stack a heal block on top of it. So that's part of why you need decent gear for this level. You can't just sustain it. The damage does start ramping up. There's no special gimmicks, there's no thresholds to cross, there's no change in mechanics. It's the same all the way through. You remove the deep slumber with double attacks, and then you just start whittling down Montmorancy with defense breaks. Killing the 2 dragons isn't really an option. Their health is so incredibly high that you will be taking tremendous damage by the time you get even one of them down, so just focus on Montmorancy for the kill. Now, as for soul management, since you won't ever really be using Arky, all of your souls are going to be going into burns on your units. Now, you can soul burn Destina for a powerhouse heal. You can soul burn Alencia to guarantee, well, not guarantee, but take that attack break chance up to 100% chance. Pretty much guarantee it. You'll need 45% effectiveness to debuff so far all of the Abyss bosses up to level 16 I've gotten so far, and they all have 60% ER, which means 45% effectiveness will give you the max chance to debuff. And remember, Mind's Eye gives Alencia a bonus 30% effectiveness, so she doesn't really need any effectiveness. It's all in her kit. But you want to make sure that units like Champion Zerato and Falconer Clury have at least 45% effectiveness so that they can effectively strip these away. Here comes that pop again. We're up to 2,800 on the fixed damage from the S3 pop.
Got it, Flurry? Just like we practiced.
And there's the AoE hit, and we stripped away the immunities. So Champion Zerato will be able to throw those back. Unfortunately, we didn't strip the immunity off of Montmorancy, but we'll at least be able to ditch the immunity on... No, if he resists, we won't. So here's a example of resource management. I'm going to hit Montmorancy instead of removing the debuff because my Destina is ready to go. She can S1 the top ad. I'm going to burn it for additional healing, and Flurry is going to cut. There, Flurry made it in time. Flurry can S1 the top ad, and boom, now the skill's gone, and I got additional damage into Montmorancy. Every time you attack, whether you attack an ad or you attack her, Montmorancy gets a 15% CR push. So she's going to cycle quickly. She's going to start using this AoE attack. I'm up to 3,000 damage from the pops, and you can see my health's starting to dwindle a little bit. When it gets into the 5,000 range, it's really hard to tank this, but once you find your rhythm, you should have no problem clearing this floor. I'm now down to the point where I could rip Arky if I had him ready, but he's not ready, so I'm just going to finish this fight traditionally. I'm going to go ahead and push up Alencia for the last hit. I guess I could have Arky'd here, but I'm going to burn it just to make sure I get the defense break, and this hit should finish the fight. And she's down. So that's floor 11. I hope this guide helps you clear it. It's one of the more challenging floors. The next 3 floors are a lot easier than this one, but most of this fight is timing, rhythm, and paying attention. I'll put a breakdown of the strategies, gimmicks, and tips for this fight in the description of the video so you don't have to read the 25 paragraphs of hidden text for how this fight works. If you have any questions, though, please ask them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you're enjoying these videos, give them a like. And if you want to see more in the new Challenge Abyss series, consider subscribing to the channel. Have a great one.